Yes, I love succulents and I'm not ashamed to admit it. G'day my lovelies and welcome back to my channel. If you haven't been here before, my name is Kathy and this is where I talk about my plants and all my other pet hobbies. Today I am going to be making a succulent arrangement. In fact, my poor succulents have been in desperate need of repotting, and I have this kind of like a wine barrel planter that I've decided to use. I also might repot some of the other succulents because they're just getting too big for the pots that they're in. They're just doing really well, which is great, of course. Oh no, don't do this. Don't do this. Now, I have been wanting to do this video for at least a month. Unfortunately, the weather has not cooperated. Every time I've wanted to record this, it's either rained or it's been really cold or it has been really, really hot. But today is a mild day, so it's perfect weather for doing this. I also need to mention that I asked people on Instagram for questions and Instagram has decided to get rid of them. I think mainly because of new privacy laws in Europe, which is so frustrating. If I had known, I would have saved them. So I apologize to all of you who did submit a question. Unfortunately, I can't find them. I might have to take a screenshot next time so that I'll have them when I do further repottings, which seems that I'm always repotting at the moment because it's summer and everything is growing so fast. Now, I know a lot of people aren't fans of succulents. I am. I think they are beautiful and there's just so many different varieties that you can get, which is wonderful. There's colours for everyone, there's different shapes, different sizes, and I think they were one of the first plants that I bought when I first started looking after plants, which is 2 years ago now. However, I killed quite a few of them. But the beauty with succulents is that they are so easy to propagate. You can take a leaf and they will grow. Every time a leaf falls off one of my succulents, I propagate them. I don't know why, but I do. And I was looking for a planter where I could put them all together because I had pots everywhere with propagations. And I found this green planter. Some of the leaves I propagated in water and they do grow really well, but they can be a little hard to keep upright without submerging it in the water. If you guys are interested, I can show you how I propagated them because that worked really well. Okay, the cat's outside. She decided to join me. Another way of propagating succulents is you can just throw them on top of soil. Honestly, you don't need to do anything beyond that. They will root so easily, but they can take a bit of time. Now, all these plants that are currently in here are all from leaf cuttings. It's amazing, isn't it? Except for the aloes. The aloes were very tiny, probably so big when I took them out from my mother plant because she gives me babies all the time. In fact, I think I've given away 15 or so. I put them in a box out the front and asked my neighbours to take them. And these were a little too small, the ones in my green box. But now they're quite large and I think I'm going to repot them separately. Originally, all of these plants were in small pots and I kept this green box actually in my garage, which gets north-facing light, which is the best light in Australia. And there was no curtain to block the light, so they did quite well. But I decided last year, over 12 months ago, I decided to bring them outside and see how they do, even though they were very small plants and I was a little worried that I would kill them. I didn't. As you can see, they cannot stop growing. But it's getting extremely crowded in there, so it is time for me to take some of the plants out. And so I'm going to repot some of them in this planter, as well as a few other plants that I have just in pots, like this gorgeous echeveria. I think it's an echeveria. I'll correct myself on the screen if I'm wrong, but it is growing like crazy. It is flowering like crazy. I actually bought this, I think, about 2 months ago, maybe a bit longer. It's got so many babies and it's quite cramped, so I actually want to take it out of the pot, and I think I might put it in my planter. If I don't, then I'll definitely give it a bigger pot. I also have this gorgeous kalanchoe, which I think that's how you pronounce it, but it has flowered for me. It is so full, and I think this also needs to be repotted. And I'm actually thinking this might go in my planter as well. It's not that big a planter, so we'll see how we go. Now, because my succulents live outside, or these ones do, I don't know if I want to cramp them all together. I actually like letting them grow as big as they want. So let's start. This is my potting tray. It's actually a kitty litter box, which I love because it's deep enough, but not too deep, and I can repot my plants in here. Now, the plant I'm using is a wine barrel. It's just a cheap plant I got at Kmart. I don't think I paid more than $20. It did house some of my herbs last year and the year before, but I've planted them in the garden. And really, I'm having so much trouble finding shallow and long kind of planters that I decided to re-utilise this for my succulents. Make it like a succulent garden, I guess you would call it. And because it is so deep, I ended up, and I do this with big pots, like especially if I have small plants and a very deep pot, I put like things at the bottom. Sometimes I put things like milk cartons, or in this instance, as you can see, I've used plastic pots. I've turned them upside down because this planter doesn't need to be completely full. My succulents in my green box, propagation box, that's what I call it, I think it has this much soil, and you can tell that they grow like crazy because succulents generally don't have very deep roots. And because this is a little bit too deep, I didn't want to fill it completely up with soil. The other thing is it gets really heavy, so it's hard to move. Anyway, so what I'm going to do to start off with is take out the plants that definitely need repotting, like this kalanchoe. And any leaves I lose, like this one, are going to go in my green propagation box. It actually rained yesterday, quite a bit actually. So most of these seem to be wet, which will probably make it easier, but messier. Just cleaning out some of the damaged leaves, not even damaged, but the ones down the bottom that don't get enough sun. This one has a lot of spider webs and stuff in it. I don't mind spiders, don't love them, but I can deal with them. Keep thinking of Charlene from Planting Charlene. She will have a lot of trouble if she does any gardening outdoors because the bugs are everywhere. Now, I think if you're squeamish, you learn not to be, whether you like it or not, simply because, yeah, there's no choice, really. For now, I'm just going to put that in the planter. Like I said, any leaves I find, because unfortunately every time you repot succulents, leaves always come off, but I'm going to propagate them. I must admit, I'm a little reluctant to tackle my green propagation box because they're so cramped in together. But what can you do, right? Okay, next one is this. So gorgeous. It's got a lot of babies. Seriously, I don't know if you guys can see that. But there's even more on this side. So many babies. And I always like to clean off any dead leaves that I find. I'm going to take some of the soil off first so that I can get to the dead leaves. Now, I know some people aren't huge fans of succulents. I think I love all plants. Well, okay, maybe not orchids. It's not that I don't admire them. I just don't want any. But they are beautiful plants. Orchids. Well, maybe not the pink princess. But I think Every plant has its charm. It's like anything. We can't all like the same things, the same colours, the same plants, same types of clothes, same music. Variety is really what makes life interesting, I think. Okay, this one is doing so well. I can't get over how well it has done. Well, I can, because that's what succulents do. And I'm actually thinking I want to take a couple of the babies. And I'm probably doing the wrong thing. It's even got some roots, so I can plant that. Wow, what a mess. Yeah, seriously, what a mess. Yeah, I'm being a bit rough with it, but in my experience, succulents can handle it. Not many other plants can, but definitely succulents can. You can tear them, you can knock them about, and they just bounce back. They are extremely hardy plants. And I'm sure that may not be the case with all of them. It is definitely with most succulents, in my experience anyway. I think I'm going to take out all the babies. She's going to cry for a bit. Okay, so that is what is left. And she can go in here too. Oh, I don't know if I'm going to have much room for much else. Okay. Yeah. I got quite a few babies. I'm not going to repot them now. I'm going to let them callus over first. I find that works really well for me. That will be its own little baby plant. How cute is that? And so is this one. Adorable, isn't it? Yeah. They give you babies all the time, succulents. So if you want more plants, succulents definitely are very generous. And quite a few leaves. Yeah, this one I did a little bit of damage too. Oh well. Okay, this is my petrifytum that I recently bought online. It is not looking very happy. And I think it is getting too much water. It's still alive though, because as I said, succulents are tough. So I'm thinking I'm going to put this either in this planter or in my propagation box. Or I should take it inside. Let me know what you guys think I should do with this one, because I'm not too sure. I could put it inside. Make sure I give it very little water so it doesn't drown, because I think that's the problem lately. It's been getting a lot of rain because even though it's summer, it has been raining non-stop in Melbourne. Whoever wants to argue that climate change doesn't exist, come speak to me, because there has definitely been a massive change in the weather in Melbourne, and I have lived here all my life. Okay, now I have to show you this one because I'm very proud of her. This is my gorgeous Crasula. It's marginalis, I think. I had a lot of trouble identifying it. If anybody knows for certain, do let me know. Now this one has a story that I want to share with you. Originally I had this one inside and it did alright, even flowered, not very much. And I've had this at least a year and a half, probably close to 2. And last summer I decided to bring it outside and it did so well. And as you can see, it just will not stop flowering. But it was still a little delicate. I find that succulents growing indoors seem to be a little bit more fragile than those outside. And one day, it was so windy here that it tore the entire plant out of the pot and threw it on the ground. And it was a miracle I actually saw it. And I thought, oh no, my beautiful marginalis, because it was flowering back then as well. So what I did was I just stuck it back in the pot. Didn't even pot it properly. I just put it on the top and just put a little bit more soil on top of it. And this is the result. These roots so easily. So easily. They're just so hardy. but she's so full that I feel that I really need to repot her or split her. If she's anything like my Crashula Diane, which can't stop growing, and I have split like 8 times now, then I think she will grow really fast as well. So I think I'm going to divide her. Oh, sorry, darling. Okay, yeah. Just removing any dead bits of foliage. This thing is just incredible at how well it rooted. And I know I'm going to lose some of it, but that's okay. I'm so sorry, darling. Okay, so I have split my poor darling. And I think part of her is going to go in this pot. And I think the other part of her I want to bring inside. I don't know. Because she's still huge. Look. And that's half. And I know she'll survive because she survived being torn out of the pot itself. What do you think? Still looks too big. I don't know yet what I'm going to do with this one, so it's going to sit for a while. Okay, wow, I have so many cuttings of this. I'm going to actually propagate them. Might even chuck some in the garden because I know it'll take. Wow, that looks really good just like that. But I have got to get these plants out of this green pot. I got interrupted. I wanted to show you guys this. It's a little bag of tools that you can use with succulents particularly. I have things like a scoop, a little air squeezer, brushes, tiny little scoop. I don't even know what the hell that is. Little scoops, tweezers. What is that? Little cutters. Actually, I think this might be for taking out leaves from succulents, but I could be wrong. I've got some bigger tools. Oh, a little squeeze bottle. I thought I'd show you them because they're very handy with succulents. Not very expensive either. I think I paid $10 or so. It's now time for me to tackle my propagation box, and I'll be honest, I really don't want to because it is just so full. Okay, so that is empty. And that is all plants that I got out. So that is what I'm thinking of. I haven't potted anything. I'm just kind of putting them in position to see if I like it, and I love it. I must admit, I think it looks so gorgeous, especially against the timber of the wine barrel. And that's what I'm going to call it anyway. I just love it. I might leave space actually and do it another day. I have this beautiful Black Prince Echeveria, and it has quite a few babies, and I'm thinking I might plant one on the empty side of this pot. So I'm going to finish setting everything in position that I want to keep them in, and then I'm going to fill it up with soil. I'm using cactus mix because these are succulents, and really that is the best type of potting mix for succulents. And at the end I will show you what it looks like. Well, that is my succulent planter. Let me know what you guys think. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Would you have done something differently? I'm sure that I could add more, honestly. I think this is one thing that you can just keep adding and adding. And already it's a little crowded, but It just looks so gorgeous. I absolutely love it. And I'm going to see if I can find another planter that I like. It's a problem, isn't it? Finding pots that you actually like. I'm a little fussy when it comes to pots, I will admit that. Whereas I really like this one, especially now that it's quite weathered. Now, in my limited time of looking after succulents, what I have learned is they like to be left alone. Seriously, they do not like a lot of attention, and they certainly don't like a lot of water. And it's quite easy to tell if they need water because their leaves, let me show you one, like this one, right? Their leaves are quite thick, and you can tell if they're firm that they don't need water. If they're a little soft or a little wrinkly, that's a sign that they need water. Unfortunately, this does happen a lot where you will lose leaves. You touch them and they break off. But I could cut this and propagate it, and in fact I might. I don't know yet. I do water them in summer because it does get extremely hot, but other than that I don't. If these were planted in the ground, I probably wouldn't even need to water them, or very rarely. In this planter, it's got quite a bit of soil, so it is not going to need as much water. One of the reasons I decided to make this planter, other than I really love the look of it, is that I get really tired of having 20 little pots to water. So I thought I would combine them in one so that then I just need to water one. I don't know if other people do that, but I definitely find that that is easier for me. Okay, well that is all I have for you guys today. Let me know what you think of my succulent planter. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you like succulents? Do you dislike them? I don't think you should. I think each to their own, right? I know they may not appeal to everyone, but I really do love them. I think they are so beautiful, and I love all the colours that you can get. It's the only thing I think that's missing with this is I need a few more different colours, but that's okay. It means I'll just have to make another succulent planter. As always, thank you guys so very much for hanging out with me. I do really hope you enjoyed this video. And if you are interested in seeing more succulent videos, I don't spend a lot of time with them, and really this was way overdue. But I would like to do a few more videos on the succulents that I have. And as usual, if you like this video, you can give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, you can subscribe to my channel. I hope you all have a beautiful day and a beautiful weekend, and I will see you next time. Bye. Oh, this looks so good.